travelers. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kai.
And we're the Genshin guys. Welcome all. This podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by HoYoverse, formerly known as MiHoYo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. We have new episodes every Monday, so if you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the podcast. Thank you all for waiting. We have delayed this episode. We normally release episodes every Monday, but we wanted to make sure that we covered the live stream for this episode. So, we are a couple days a little bit off schedule, but hopefully we have a good episode for you today. So, that being said, Kahi, before we get started, how are you doing today?
So currently it is Tuesday, and my last day off was last week Tuesday. So I've been working 6 days in a row, which is awesome. So I'm glad to have finally a single day of rest. And I'm actually glad we finally have time to do a podcast recording now, because there's a lot that happened over the weekend, especially with the live stream. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff I wanted to talk about, a lot of good shares. What about you, Josh? How has your week been?
Nice. Sarcasm. All right. So, yeah, for me, I've been, just chilling this week. Also been working, but I've been trying to do just play a lot of different games, and do battle passes and things like that, and it just feels like kind of overwhelming sometimes. So I'm trying to pick which games I really want to buckle down on and finish. I've been playing Overwatch, I've been playing Dead by Daylight, I've been playing Fortnite, I've been playing the new Resident Evil multiplayer game as well. There's just so many things. So I mean, they're all super fun and I love playing with friends, but definitely got to see how I can manage my time better for this. But of course, on top of all that, I have Genshin going on. So I've been playing Honkai 3rd Impact as well. So I've been trying to catch up in that. So, lots of games, trying to figure things out. But cool. But here we are. And we're here because the big event was the live stream. And so let me introduce today's topics really quick. And then we will go over the live stream. So, firstly, as always, we have our week in Genshin. We have the Genshin news, and we have Livestream 3.2, which is the biggest Genshin news. And then we have our community discussion question. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot of topics, but we do have a lot to talk about. So, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, getting started with our weeks in Genshin. So, Kahi, how was your week in Genshin this past week?
So there was a birthday announcement for Sayu, and I just suddenly realized during that announcement, wow, I haven't used that character in a very long time. So I decided to actually try her out and put her on a team. And around that time is when I realized, wait a second, the new 4-star Claymore gives Elemental Mastery and gives an attack buff based on Elemental Mastery. And Sayu's heals is basically scaled off of both of those stats. So I've been leveling up that Claymore, and you know what even the best part is? I never farmed for any of those weapon ascension materials at all. But because of all the events since, Sumeru came out, and all the materials they gave me, I already had enough to level it to around 60, I think. 60 or 70, which is fantastic because I think we even talked about this earlier. No one wants to keep farming the same domain over and over and over again. That's not end game. That's not what we want to do. We want to play a variety of stuff and still get rewards along the way. It's a perfect example of that. I didn't even know I had enough to level up this weapon, but because I participated in all the events, which was fun, I got the things naturally. So I love that. And what's even more fun is because Sayu, her main skill is the one where you just roll around and just cause swirls and reactions. I put her on a team with Kuki Shinobu and Chi-Chi.
Yep.
And what is the other one? I think I put her with Kazuha. Yeah, I think it was Kazuha. And basically, she's causing all kinds of reactions and out healing Kuki. So I have two.
I'm kind of surprised.
I have 3 healers.
I'm kind of surprised you put Kuki because because you're making with ice and water, you're making superconduct, right? So you need to be doing physical damage to get something out of that. But
no. Sayu is animal, and then you have Kuki, which is electro, and then Chi-Chi, which is hydro. Cryo.
Right.
So I'm doing superconduct swirls all the time.
Right. So
and they're all healing.
Superconduct's like the whole point of superconduct is you can do more physical damage to the
Hmm.
enemy, right? So
Well, just the swirl reactions because I have her with the animal damage boost, so
oh
I'm
yeah,
not really doing a lot of physical anyways.
yeah,
But I
cool,
mean, it
cool,
could if I want to. But it's just funny because
yeah,
this is actually a pretty fun way. It feels better to control when I'm on controller because
right,
turning like going spinning in a circle with a keyboard is not the greatest. I mean, I can still move my mouse around a lot, but I'm still just wildly flailing my hand around all across the mouse pads. But when
well,
I'm on the controller, I can just spin the stick in a circle and just kind of keep everyone in one big swirl. It's
yeah.
hilarious.
Sayu with any kind of like ability that follows you around or like stays on your active character is like really great. Like now that you
It's
say that,
amazing.
it actually makes me want to try doing like Nilu with with Sayu with like Chi Chi
Please try it.
or like with
Please, that'd
actually
be great.
with Kaya because then his burst like that follows you
Oh
around.
yeah, his like spinning
Yeah.
circles
I
of
mean,
his
I think
icicles,
they
right?
showed it like I mean it's basically a thing already, but like the like if you do like a Sayu national team, so if you do like or something similar, like you use Shangling, Xingqiu, and then you just throw in Kaya, and then like you just throw all their bursts and you just like roll around. Well, maybe not Xingqiu's burst, just his elemental skill, but you just roll
That's gonna be
around.
great.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, that's cool. So I like how her
Other than that,
birthday
just adding
inspired
my,
you.
hmm yeah, because it's a wonderful reminder that hey, these characters exist. Try them out. You get their little message in the mail too. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll just play around with them for a little bit, and then realizing, wait a second, I haven't played around with them for this long. They're actually really good now in this. I don't. I guess I could call it like a meta, but like in this whole sandbox, yeah, in this whole sandbox of like Dendro, new weapons, new abilities going out of their new characters and such. Because I never Kuki wasn't out when I got Sayu. Kuki came out like way later. So I never really got a chance to like really look at those two characters in the
Right.
same, in the same vein because they're just so far apart and we're already going into the next patch and the next zone. So it's a great reminder. So a lot of these changes, I even have like an idea for from our community question, and I think you're gonna love it. But other than that, yeah, just getting some artifacts, prepped just in case Nahida maybe benefits from the other artifact set with that gives EM boost instead of just the full on Dendro damage boost. But I just want to have like variety going on. I finished my battle pass too, so a lot of stuff that I already finished, and I'm just waiting for Nahida's banner.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the next Archon, right? It's gonna be super fun to use. Her elemental skill looks great. We'll talk a little bit about that, but but yeah. So for me, this past week, just been also like trying to farm materials, to prepare for new characters in general. Like I've been slacking too much, leaving my resin to the wayside way too often, and so I'm just trying to at least every day, even if I don't have something that I'm specifically working on. I will just try to use it on talent books, on the what's it called, experience books, or Mora. And I've been trying to work on the world quests, like the R&R quest and the King Destro quest, but like man, they take a really long time, and I take my time with it, like as I'm going around, like especially during the Golden Slumber quest. I'm trying to like get all the treasure chests and sealies and things that I walk by. Like I definitely don't want to like have to come back to these areas to look for them. So I'm just kind of taking my time trying to get everything as I go. Um and yeah, I also finished the battle pass, and I've been continuing still leveling Kole and Kokomi. I'm still trying to level every character to 80 is my like current goal. So, but Kole and Kokomi I'm using currently in my team with Nilo, and I'll probably replace Kole with Nahida when she comes out. So, I just want to get her to 80 now, and then just like have her be that way for until the next step when I try to level everyone to 90, which will be a long time from now, but uh just trying to I did their world bosses, and now I'm just trying to get the materials. It really takes a long time to get enemy materials, which is also another reason why I do the like the Mora and experience book ley lines, because all of those enemies actually drop their materials. And so I will do it in like Sumeru or in Inazuma or wherever based on which kind of enemies materials I need. And sometimes you got to get lucky with the kind of enemies that come in, but it's still like it's always good to like just to get some of them. And so
Because it forces them to spawn too, right?
Yeah, it forces
Because
them to
instead of like
spawn.
going around and finding where they are, and
And
there's only like two
but
or
it
three.
depends on like where like every time it spawns, like the ley lines wherever they spawn, like depending on that spot is going to be the same enemies every time. So I know, like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if the ley lines appear in Watatsumi Island, then there will be like the little jellyfish, or like in the bottom part of like the map, I forgot, like the part where everything's like all electric and broken, like the bottom right part of Inazuma. I forgot the name of it. But
Right.
like if the ley lines appear there, it's usually also those like floating specters, and that like I really want those right now for Kokomi. So yeah, so like just watching out for like where they spawn because of what I remember where the enemies spawn. I don't really look it up or anything. I um just go for it whenever I think like, oh, I need some materials for Kokomi. Let me just go to Inazuma, and I've been doing that. So it's pretty useful to just kind of stockpile these things, like you said. If you don't, if they're ones that you happen to have not used in a long time, like I'm trying to level D-Luke also on the side, and I already have all of his materials. I just have to fight his world boss because, like, I've been gathering them from events and from just like walking around doing dailies and all this stuff, that I can just kind of instantly level him up as soon as I get the world boss, because the world bosses are the ones you have to really pay attention to and spend resin on, right? So so yeah, that's kind of how my week's been. Just kind of farming, trying to figure out how I can um, level up these characters, and just having fun. Just like trying different people, just like walking around the world, trying to get some world completion. Yeah, that's been my past week. Let's move on to Genshin news. Okay, everyone. So our big news of the week is the live stream itself, but we will talk about that in the next section specifically. The couple things, quick things I just want to mention is that we have, like Kahi said, Sayu's birthday was on October 19th, and Eula's birthday was on October 25th. So, yeah, it's like another good reason, as always, to like say hi to these characters. If you have them, go ahead and play them, try them out again. Just like a fun in-game lore thing that anybody can pretty much get behind. Birthdays are fun. So there is those two. And then we also have the Traveler's Reverie behind the scenes of the Music of Sumeru released, as well as a bunch of Sumeru OSTs on YouTube. So definitely check those out on the Hoyoverse app or on YouTube if you haven't already. And then a bunch of little things here and there, like Yoimiya fan art contest and other things like that. But go ahead and check out their Genshin Impact official Twitter or the Hoyoverse app if you want to check those out yourself. And then we have the live stream. So let's go ahead and get started on the live stream. It's going to be a big chunk of our episode today. Kahi, as always, I will let you lead. We have a slideshow that Kahi has prepared for us. Eventually, we would like to do video format for these episodes specifically, if anything, just to be able to share with you all what we are looking at. But for now, we will do our best to explain the things that we want to highlight from the actual live stream itself, and we will talk about um, like we'll just talk about in discussion format here on the podcast, knowing that you guys are listening. So let's go ahead and get started. Kahi, take it away.
All right, so we're basically just going to be going in order of what we see in the live stream presentation. A couple of little highlights. We're not going to spend too much time on it, not so much theory crafting, but just kind of coming up with, ideas for how we can play throughout the content and just some ideas about the characters as well. I'm going to be talking about the events towards the latter half, but to get us started, we are going to be just, going through each of these little slides, going to be talking about what we see. First thing we have is a little overview of Port Ormos, and Dottore is on the boat. Apparently, looks like he's getting ready to leave, and there's a bunch more Fatui there. I don't know if this is part of a cutscene or whatever. Maybe there are actual Fatui that we can just run up to and walk up to and interact with. But on the next one, we do have a little shot of Dea kind of peeking around the corner there.
Yeah.
So Dea is either, it looks like she's either following or planning to confront. What do you think? Do you think she's going to actually fight him, or just she's smart enough to know she shouldn't?
So I watched the trailer a couple of times again yesterday, and like Dottore. So it seems like Dottore makes Scaramouche a god, and then he just leaves. Like he just leaves Sumeru. Like I don't think we're gonna fight
Refuses
him.
to elaborate.
Yeah, like I
Leaves.
think we're going to. He said like before I leaves, then something gotta make sure that this is done or something like that, and then he like left. I mean, we still haven't remember like so this is the god thing, right? But like we still haven't found out about if there's like actually going to be like a burning tree thing happening from like way back
Not
when.
yet.
Yeah, so like he I don't think he's leaving Sumeru, but like I think that right now because Scaramouche is the big guy we're dealing with, that maybe he's just gonna straight up leave like Sumeru like Port Ormos at some point, and maybe Dea wants to confront him, but I think they're just kind of watching him to see what he does. I don't know if they're gonna like. I think this seems like a scene where we just watch him go off in a boat, and we're like, "All right, he's out of here. Let's deal with Scaramouche." Like, they said in the trailer, like, now that he's out of here, it's good for him and us, or something like that. And I was like, "What the heck does that mean?"
Hmm.
So,
Well, imagine. I imagine that he's doing this to make Scaramouche like the biggest distraction in history,
right? Yeah,
and
that
the
makes
actual
sense.
real plot is way over here. That
Oh,
would
that's
be a great
good.
plan.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That'd be the ultimate distraction. But that, I mean, maybe Dale will find out.
Hey, let me just
But
create a god real quick. Hey, look over here.
let me just look over here and not under here. Um, Next we do have Tainari, who is also being confronted by the Fatui, and there's a pretty interesting guy with just some looks like some gray hair and a mustache, like an unmasked Fatui person. I don't know if he's important
Oh
or
yeah, I
just
didn't notice that.
some random NPC. He's like really blurry in the background, but I don't know if they're trying to capture Tainari or he just Tainari found out about certain places and he's just kind of defending his home turf. But they're circling around him like they're trying to like do something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a confrontation with Tainari again. Then in the next one, we have probably like the most heartbreaking picture I've ever seen. We finally have Nahida, who is she's crying. It's
with
so
with with
adorable, but it's
with
so
with
sad.
your brilliant caption like
Mm-hmm.
in all caps.
Uh-huh.
Who the
Who the
f made her cry?
who the f? Because there's already like a few memes I've been seeing going around where like everyone's posting like their artifact drop and then they upgraded it
Oh
and then
my
they show like
gosh,
Nahida just
this is
crying.
so good. Oh my
I
god,
know.
this is gonna be a forever Genshin meme. I think
Mm-hmm. I know. It's horrible,
like
but
for like
it's
losing
heartbreaking. But
50-50, right? Like also,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay, I gotta save
Yeah,
this for.
everyone who doesn't get Nahida, they're gonna post this.
Oh, 100%.
100%. All right, and so next after that we see Dottore now inside of a really green lit building and a big. It kind of looks like one of those. What do they call it? Not a shrine, but one of those really big treasure shrines and buildings that you have to unlock with one of those keys.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I'm talking
it
about?
kind of does, but it actually looks
Kind
more
of.
like the thing in Tanari's story, right? Right, like the energy thing that like is absorbing the ley lines.
Mm.
Yeah, it looks like
Kind of. Oh
what
yeah,
are those
kind of,
things
but just
called?
bigger.
Yeah, I forgot what those are called. It is like a shrine, I think. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if this was actually the core that comes out and creates the whole robot that Scaramouche is going to be piloting, but it does. It looks a little bit different because right after this, it goes to show all kinds of stuff about Scaramouche. So I don't
Right.
know if that's a lead up or if that's just unrelated. But here's something I actually didn't catch until I did this breakdown, like frame by frame. So when it goes dark right after seeing Dottore and that green core room, it it's a dark room and it goes like zooms down just a little bit into the floor. I didn't realize there's a person laying there. That's Hypatia.
Yeah, this is the place where Hypatia went
Uh-huh.
crazy. This is
Yeah,
Paradias or whatever that place is called.
right. But I didn't see it at all because it
Yeah,
kind of went by
it's like
pretty
a
quick in the
second.
live
Yeah,
stream.
it's like 1 second, I think.
Yeah. Mhm. So either she's sleeping or in a coma or like way worse because right after that you see Scaramouche just kind of floating above in like this whitish, glowish, ethereal form. I don't know if he's using her to some degree or maybe because she was kind of like, I mean, you and her were like the first to actually witness him in his godlike transformation. So maybe she is important to his transformation somehow. Maybe like he relies on a worshiper. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just found that weird. Like, why would Scaramouche be watching over her? She's just some random person. I don't know. But after that, we have Nilu, who is coming up to the academia, the main front entrance, and she was talking with someone, and the person was like, "Why are you taking this big risk for them?" And she's like, "I don't know. I must admit, I'm kind of scared. I don't know what risk she's taking coming up to the academia. I really hope she's not offering herself to become like some stand-in for Nahida just to make sure she can roam about and fix everything while she takes her place. I really hope that's not the case,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't know what she has planned like from her side because everyone's trying to like move their own pieces throughout the chessboard, so to speak, and they're talking about Al Haytham's plan, where
Right.
Sino was like,
Okay.
"Wow,
So,
I." Mhm.
oh no. So, can I say my theory about like this and that Nilu thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I think that Al Haytham's plan involves like rallying people against the academia and getting people to support Kusanali. Like, and I think because like Nilu is like Kusanali's most one of her most devout followers, right? Like Nahida's like most
Mhm.
devout followers. That I think that Nilu is going to have to do something that kind of outs herself as a follower of the lesser god Kusanali, and then she's gonna have to confront the academia with this somehow. Like, I think that that's what she's going there to do. To be like,
Wait, but isn't Nilu's outfit based on another god, like god of flowers or god of dancing? She said that when we first met her.
yeah, but
Like
she's
her,
a
I
follower
forget.
of the,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah, like that's why they did the whole
yeah, she is.
Sabzeruz festival and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, she's not designed after Kusanali, but like her faith is Kusanali, and that's why they did
Right,
the
of
Sabzeruz
course.
festival and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and maybe she finds out the same way that Tanari finds out, like that Nahida is Kusanali, or like that Traveler has met and knows the Dendro Archon, and maybe that's why she like is willing to to go out of her way to confront the academia, because maybe it's part of their plan to what looks like is create discourse, because Al Haytham's plan, they say this, Sino says like, oh, Al Haytham's plan is more radical than I thought. And it's like the Aramites versus the core of 30 or whatever. And it just seems like they're starting a war as part of the plan. Like that's what it seems like from this like trailer. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe Al Haytham's plan
Civil
is to
War after
create.
Civil War.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Alrighty. And coming up, what is this one? So when it does that final like zoom out of the big boss battle, it shows the arena and they're really tiny. Like you have Scaramouche's big mech on the left,
It's
and
so
then you have
big.
the Traveler on the right. He's huge. I love this boss. But
Yeah.
in that little cutscene, you have Nahida, Paimon, the little helper, and the Traveler. And throughout this whole thing, the only character you see in that boss arena is the Traveler. So I hope they're not gonna lock out our other characters and you have to play as Traveler to fight this boss, because I do kind of want to at least use a movement ability for my other characters at least, even if I'm pacified for the whole thing, which it looks like we are. I would like to have other characters fight this boss too, but I just really hope that they're not gonna lock us out like that. But the
Yeah.
only characters that you could ever see in this arena are them. So yeah, that was pretty much like their big trailer for the new patch, and then they started to go into more and more specifics. The first thing that they went into detail about was the boss battle itself. So from the looks of it, there's two major phases. So phase one, which I think is actually really cool, but I'm still not too sure how it exactly works.
Right.
So there's elemental ground runes. There's like going from like an arch from like the left to the right. There's about six, two, three, four, five. So yeah, there's about six runes on the ground. There's two electro. So one is on the far left, one is on the far right. Both of those are electro. From the left to right, it's electro, then animal, pyro, cryo, hydro, then electro rune again. It lights up when you walk over it. However, it I don't know how to it either wants that element character to be on that plate, or you have to somehow get the element to be on that plate. Because all of the elements come from the boss. You have pyro coming from the boss, you have cryo coming from the boss, electro coming from the boss, and hydro. I don't even see like the team roster on the right. Normally you can actually see the characters on the right side. This is why I
I mean,
hope they
we
don't
don't we
lock
don't
us
see
out.
any UI right now, so I think
No, not
there's
much. No.
no there's like zero, right? Like there's no health bar, there's
Yeah,
no
in
anything in the trailer.
yeah in the boss fight,
Yeah.
nothing.
So then I think
And it could be
you
under
know,
development, but who knows?
yeah. What I'm curious about in this boss fight is like supposedly it's a weekly boss. Like, is this even co-op? Like, it seems very single player oriented.
I
Like,
don't think it's co-op. It
right? The little
seems
helper and all
small.
this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's gonna be co-op for this. So I'm really
Like
curious
four
about that.
helpers? No, that's no, not too much.
Yeah. Oh my god, can you imagine if we co-op and then everybody plays as a little helper?
That'd be hilarious. I mean, speaking of little helper, the phase two is when you have the full blown mech coming up, standing on the arena, and pretty sure it's the same space, but it could be another room. Looked like a transition room, but it seems fairly straightforward. You collect those little blue gems that kind of drop on the ground to to charge the helper's energy, which doesn't look like it drains until you actually fire it at full energy, and you fire it at a weak spot. Now, when they played this clip and they shot it, there's like a big green dendril ball of energy, and it hit the boss. It doesn't look like the boss got stunned at all. There's no visual indicator that you've made progress, no stagger, so you probably missed the window or didn't hit it properly, or you just didn't hit the right
Well,
thing.
it looks like he hit it. It just
Mm-hmm.
there's no, like I said, there's no UI, so it probably just chunks his health bar. Like, he definitely hit it,
Okay.
and I think that because it looks like the energy didn't actually disappear from the helper until it did hit him. So I feel like if you miss, it actually
Mm.
doesn't cost energy.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
good catch. I thought it just depletes the moment you shot. All right, but yeah, this boss looks like it's gonna be like the most unique boss fight ever.
Yeah.
But
I just hope it's actually
there's always
fun.
that slight potential. Yeah, please,
Yeah.
yes. I mean,
It's
it
so
looks cool
cool. Yeah,
visually.
it's
It's
so
great.
cool. Like,
It's awesome. It's like a Final Fantasy boss.
right?
After that, we go into the character demos. And the first one, of course, everyone's Dendro daughter,
Dendro
everyone's favorite
daughter.
Dendro Archon. We have Nahida.
We have
Talks
Geo
about her.
Daddy,
It
Dendro
is
daughter, Electro Mama.
Electro Empress, the Electro Empress, and the drunk, the drunk uncle.
Oh my god, the drunkle.
Uh, the drunk uncle, yeah. So Nahida's basic attacks. Now, here's the thing about Nahida's basic attacks that I hope is true. It looks like there's height to the attack. So she just, hops on the ground and all these dendro things kind of pop up from the ground. But there is a height to the glowing animation. They look like light pillars.
Hmm.
And from the side, as it travels further, it looks like the light pillars at the max range of the basic attacks are higher.
Hmm.
So I hope there is height, because if there's any of those specters, if there's any enemies in the air or just at some weird height or advantage or distance or on like some other geography or geometry, whatever,
Yeah.
I really hope you can actually get them with these elemental attacks. Because typically you have any catalyst user can attack, aerial units, because like you have their fire bolts or their geo, geo rock throwing or whatever, home into the enemy. This one does not do that. It just is a row of light pillars coming from the bottom, from the ground, shooting upwards. If there's some pretty good height to that, I'm really gonna like this character even more, even just for that, because you can use it in a much more diverse team. You can still have people who are able to get anti-air. You
Wait,
you
wait,
have great
Kahi, don't
range
forget her
attacks.
elemental skill is
Hmm.
literally like a lock on that does damage wherever the enemy is.
That's
So it
true.
doesn't matter if her
That's
basic
true.
attacks hit or not, actually. But what about her charge attack? Is her charge attack like. Does it show her charge
I
attack?
think it's I think it's just like one, swipe of her hand. I think they did show it very briefly because they were just transitioning to like this is her basic attacks to the skill usage.
I see.
I think it's when it was during a zoom in or like a close up of her, where it's like she kind of just spins around and like waves her hand. It might just be like a close range charge attack, not so much distance,
Right.
but it just goes right into her skill usage. Now this skill is actually it can actually be really broken because any enemy that you like when you hold the skill and turn your camera, it links them. It applies dendro as it hits them with dendro, but links them together. Which means if you get an elemental reaction on one of them, it chains to the other. Because there's actually like links between them. You have like a visual mark on them as well. But the unique thing about Nahida and when she does this is a different type of dendro application. When you cause an elemental reaction, it does more damage. The dendro cores do more damage when they are marked with this specific one. But I think it could be broken because of how far it could go. We don't see like the maximum range of it, but it seems to be pretty far. And you can turn your camera, so you can just turn like be in the middle of a group, get the whole abyss floor, and have all of them linked together as they're just trying to run at you.
Right. Or we don't have like an idea of
I
if there's a max, right?
No, it didn't. I mean, a lot of the enemies that they showed in this video were already kind of close, anyways.
Yo, I just got a really
The
cool
only other
idea with
thing they
this.
showed us,
Like,
yo,
wouldn't this be really cool for like a burning slash burgeon comp? Like linking all the enemies
obviously
together.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, time to
If
level
you
up
cause an
Toma.
instant reaction
I'm leveling
here,
up Toma.
I haven't used Toma in forever. I probably should. Maybe he is good
Yeah.
nowadays, but
Apparently he's
I was
amazing for
trying to save
burgeon
up as much
because
as I can.
yeah, like off
Mm-hmm.
field pyro application plus shields like pretty good. So okay.
And probably the best thing about the skill, there's actually two alternate uses to the skill. One is more like open world adventure based, where you can hold the skill and any plants, I guess any kind of plant like material that go into the camera's viewfinder will actually end up being harvested. So you can harvest berries, you can harvest fruits, you can harvest, weeds and plants. Doesn't look like you should be able to harvest ores and minerals, which makes sense because it's a dendro character. But this is going to be a very, very useful adventuring character for open world content.
Yeah.
And the other hidden use is when you aim it at certain, I'm pretty sure they have to be named NPCs, which it actually makes sense why they were preparing for it, because there's a lot of NPCs that are just walking around, but some of them just have a name
Uh,
and they just like have a few lines of dialogue.
maybe it's like only in Sumeru City and people using Akasha terminals.
Well, pretty much everyone has an Akasha, right?
Yeah, in Sumeru, I mean.
There's like,
In Sumeru, because
yeah, in
obviously,
Sumeru.
like if you go to Mondstadt, no one's running an Akasha terminal. So like, I'm curious if this is like that. If it only works with Akasha terminal wearing NPCs with names in Sumeru. So specific.
My one worry though is like if I don't really want this to be a requirement to like find some secret chest or like get to a secret location, because now you're tying a part of the game to like you have to buy this character in order to be able to find these certain things in the world, or like you wouldn't be able to understand any of what's going on in the story unless you had this character and you read the person's mind. It would be cool if this was just allowing you to kind of find out a hint about future storylines, which is fine, but like nothing that's so important that you have to find out with this character. And if you didn't roll for this character, then you're just in the dark the entire time, where you aren't able to get a certain equipment or material. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want them
I
to
don't think
lean
they would do
into this
that.
too much. No, I have faith that they won't, but this could lean too much into like unique character interactions.
Right.
Then next, of course, we go into the elemental burst, which everyone was calling the domain expansion. What is it called? What is it in Japanese? What do they say in Jujutsu Kaisen?
Oh, Ryoiki Tenkai.
There we go.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I
the
freaking
biggest
love this.
AoE in the game. And what's even better is it again buffs Dendro and elemental interactions with Dendro. The three, of course, that we know that interacts with Dendro is Pyro, Electro, and Hydro. So in the burst, the Pyro buffs, or like elemental reactions with Dendro and Pyro, having a Pyro character in your team buffs that damage. Having an Electro character in your team will proc the Dendro interactions faster. I mean, another way they said it is shortens the interval between Electro Dendro interactions, and specifically when Nahida applies that. And then Hydro makes the domain last longer. Having two of any of these elements in your team will increase those effects. So if you have two Pyro, more Burgeon effects. If you have two Electro, you'll have even faster Electro, aggravate reactions or quicken reactions. If two Hydro, you could basically have the domain up possibly the entire time,
Yeah, she is the
like 100%
ultimate
uptime.
Dendro support. Like,
It's
so
great.
cool.
I knew the domain was gonna have like maybe just one big. Everyone will be affected by Dendro in this. That's what I thought, but this is way better. This is
Right?
hundreds of times better because it buffs whatever goes into there, and it does. She doesn't even have to be on the field. She you know
Yeah.
pops her domain. You switch to the other characters and you just go ham.
You just have
So
to be in this
my team that I had,
gigantic area.
yep, the team that I had prepped for this for Nanita was Zhongli, just because you have a shield that I wanted to get hit, and then you have Raiden Shogun, which is basically gonna give everyone their elemental burst back like all the time, and then I have Mona, which can trap everyone, like, you know, trap everyone, apply Hydro little area of effect, and it also kind of aggroes everything to that little what do they call it?
By trap, you mean taunt?
Their little that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, the little Hydro taunting
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
that pulses a Hydro. So give Nihida a shield. I have another like melee attack person and recharge like a elemental recharge or like a recharge battery. I forget what all these terms like these streamers use. Yeah, just like an energy battery or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Just
And then
battery.
you have Nahida and Mona. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I actually like Hyper Bloom teams. I don't really have too much Burgeon teams, but I like how the Dendro core, when it interacts with Electro, gets just zaps to the nearest enemy, so I don't have to worry about them being out of range of that Burgeon effect.
Burgeon?
But
Burgeon's the fire one.
oh yeah, yeah, the fire one. But
Oh, yeah.
it's like a small little bomb AOE. I I cannot wait for this character because I'm at like I have 70 wishes, so I'm pretty much guaranteed to get her.
Well, like I said, I have Nahida. I mean, I have Nahida ready, Nahida team ready. I have like Nilu, Kokomi, and Dendro Traveler. So I'm just gonna like go ham inside here. Just and I have Nilu's like 5-star weapon, right? So I can do some crazy damage with her. I think
The
after I
key,
level her up. Yeah, the key of Kajnisut. Yeah, pretty
I
cool.
got it by accident. I don't
Yeah, I
even
can't believe
have
you told me that you
anything
got
for
it.
it.
You're just
Uh-huh.
like I don't have Nilu, but like now I have an HP percentage sword. Like, well, okay. I mean, it's just a really good sword. So
Just put it on Traveler because
yeah,
it looks cool.
yeah, why not? So next is
All
Layla.
right, and then next is Layla.
All
Yes,
right.
Layla is very interesting. Because I kind of have a theory about her, but her skill, first of all, her basic attacks are nothing really special. It's just maybe 3 or 4 basic attacks. Her skill, though, it's kind of like a Deona shield, but it actually will generate 4 stars while the shield is active, and using an elemental skill while you have the shield will gain another star. When you have 4 stars, they will then shoot out, homing cryo projectiles. It looks like when they do that cast and you still have the shield, they can still, constantly accumulate. So the shield does kind of last a long time and it attacks. So that's actually really useful. It's a great defense and great offense, and because it's cryo, you can make elemental reactions. And I love how they showcased Kaching using this shield because they when they changed her, not her, but like the 4-piece set for the Thundering Fury, whatever
Hmm.
element you interact with, it decreases your cooldown. This can keep that cooldown, you know, really really small, just like how it interacts with Dendro, because you're always going to be firing off those cryo stars, and they don't fire fast, which is good because you can let those elemental reactions happen, and those stars will just kind of slowly like shoot out, and you'll be able to proc that effect within the same amount of time as interacting with Dendro. So this is a really good defensive and offensive shield.
Yeah,
Her
she'll be amazing for
burst
freezing for
is
sure.
it's gonna be great. I don't have Ayato, but I can see how Ayato could be really great with
Oh yeah.
this.
Oh, you have
But her
Yelan.
burst is yeah, I do have Yelan, but I have her on a lot of other teams already. I
I
don't want
see.
to. I don't. It's the same reason why I don't want to have like Shogun and Zhongli on the same team, all the teams, because that combo's good. I kind of want to diversify my teams.
Yeah.
But her burst is basically like Ganyu's burst, but it's a little bit slower, and it does fire tracking just like the other stars. I think, does Ganyu's burst track or
No,
no?
no,
It's
it's
just like
just
falling
random.
ice.
Yeah, it's just random.
Okay, but they do hit harder and fire faster, I guess.
Right.
But if
And
you
it's
have
AoE too. I
this,
think
if you
this
have,
one is like not AoE. It just kind of hits one
mm,
enemy.
no, there is a zone, but it's
Oh,
just whoever's
small
in the
zone.
zone. That's
Yeah.
where the stars can track to. If they're outside the field, they can't track to them.
Oh yeah, I mean like when it hits them, like is it AoE? It looks kind of like it's a tiny AoE, like the actual the
Maybe a
hit
little
like
bit.
little star.
Mm.
See when it hits both of those little mushrooms at the same time. I think so.
I would believe a little AoE is
Yeah.
fine, but it doesn't visually look
Right.
like a big burst, right? Yeah, so those are the two, and then it goes into the Wish banner phases. Phase one is going to be Nahida on one banner and Yoimiya on the second. And I think someone pointed this out. This is like Yoimiya is the first character to have the shortest, you know, interval between reruns than any other character. Because Yoimiya just, if I feel like her banner was just like one patch ago, was it?
You know
Was
what?
she here
You know
like the
what was
beginning?
pointed out that I thought you were gonna say?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that Yoimiya gets the short end of the stick every time because she's always put on a rerun with an Archon.
Wait, no, really?
Yeah, like apparently all the Yoimiya mains are like, man, people can't enjoy Yoimiya because she's always put against some character that everyone else wants more.
Oh wait, yeah. Was Yoimiya's Sumeru banner with Zhongli?
I think so.
Oh my god! Wow. Oh man, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, something like that. I don't
Ah,
know like
crud.
specifics, but
Okay.
like I just that's like a thing that people are complaining about because like I'm a Yoimiya main right now and have been for a while, and so I've never had the problem because I got her when she first came out, but I keep hearing other people are like I want her, but like other people are like better for whatever reason. So it's just sad, like as a Yoimiya person, like I wish more people could
You
use
know
her.
what's weird though? I mean, the last time when we had another 4-star character, like Candace.
Right?
Candace appeared in both Phase One and Phase Two. This time around, Layla only appears in Phase Two with Yaimiko and Tartaglia.
Wait.
I don't know how I
Candace
feel
didn't
about that.
Candace didn't appear in Phase 2.
Yeah, she did.
No, I
You
don't.
can get it from both.
You can get her from both, but she's not right up in the second half, right?
Right, but she was also available in Phase One. That's what I'm saying. Because this time around, Layla is only available during Phase
Ah,
Two.
that's what you mean. Okay, yeah. I
So
mean,
that's what's different, yeah. Because
yeah, it's actually
her
usually
rate
like
ups
this.
were available
I
in
think
both.
it's usually like this. Usually the 4-star comes on the
I
second banner,
mhm.
like with Dory. I think was the same.
Yeah, but well, personally, I do prefer having the 4-star just available from Phase One and
Of
Two, just
course,
because you have
more
at least
options.
some chance of getting a new character,
Yeah.
right? But you also have the new weapon. But basically, the 5 characters that are going to be on banners is Nahida and Yoimiya Phase One, Yaimiko, Tartaglia, and Layla Phase Two. And I don't even know if I want to go after the weapon. I might. I have, but no one knows what the weapon does.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's made specifically for Nihida, but if it is,
it
I
looks
don't know
cool.
what kind of unique
Looks like a
properties. I
magic
mean, yeah,
lamp.
it looks pretty cool. Little lamp. Look like, kind of like an artifact,
Yeah, it does. It
like a
looks like
goblet or a
the
sans.
dendro
Mm-hmm.
goblet. Like I mean the dendro the what's it called? Not the goblet. Like I don't know. It looks like one of those artifacts for sure.
A cup.
Yeah, the cup.
So
Oh wait,
pretty much wraps it
before
up
we go
about the
on to this before we go
characters.
into the
Yeah.
events, um I want to say two things. One is I learned the word for sleepwalking, which is
Mm.
somnambulism, right? Like they talk about it in the
Oh, no, yeah,
so,
somniabulism,
somnambulism.
somniabulism.
Somnambulism. I don't know. I just know like
Yeah, because you have somnia and insomnia.
yeah. Oh, exactly.
That's the
So
two words.
this is like the word for sleepwalking, right? So that is just so interesting because Layla's character. I'm really excited for Layla's hangout because I really want to like know more about like her weird like quirkiness or this like sleepwalking and becoming her true self and like being able to do all this stuff that she can't do when she's awake. Um, and then the other thing is Nahida. So Nahida, her like little banner thing, it's not here anywhere that we're looking at, but like I remember when they introduced her character, it said something about like a caged bird, and it brings me back to our conversation during the Fatui thing, where and then with the event end of the summer event, where she gets contacted, and remember we were talking about caged bird, and you were thinking about
Oh,
the
right.
Fatui,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I thought it was Columbina.
Right? But like I'm realizing now, like how much they're putting into this caged bird, the wording, because she's trapped in the sanctuary, right? Like she's like a caged bird, like
Right?
she can't be free, and she's never walked out in her own body because they've always kept her there. And uh, also after you first meet her, I thought this was so weird, but after you first meet her, they like zoom in on a random shot of like a bird in a cage, like just in Sumeru, like just a random like it happens to be right there. There's like a bird in a cage just sitting on a box somewhere in Sumeru, and they like zoom in on it for like a
The
good 10
director,
seconds or
yeah.
something. And I did the
The
story twice,
visual
right?
director is great.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm. They
the
do this a lot.
this
Visual storytelling at its finest.
yeah, the foreshadowing, right? Like it's so interesting. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that because they like specifically say like she's like her little title is like the caged bird or something something, and I
Mm-hmm.
just it just made me remember that they've been dropping hints all along like this thing, so it's pretty good. All right, I'm good to move on to events.
Alrighty, now we get into the events. Some cool ones, some okay ones, and then one really big change to the camera. So the first event is the Fabulous Fungus Frenzy. So, couple little story things about this. So Layla will be appearing in this event as well as quote a familiar visitor from another nation. So familiar, we've met this person before. We have no idea who they are, but Sino cracks a joke thinking it must be a fun guy. So maybe it is a male
Oh,
character. So it could be Tartaglia. It could be someone else, male, but who do you think it could be?
oh my god. Okay, I don't think it would be Tartaglia just because of how Fatui are like a thing right now. In the story. But maybe it would be like okay, Bennett, but we just had Bennett and Razor. But I'm thinking because this fabulous fungus frenzy is kind of like a Pokemon esque like thing where you like capture creatures and train them and then like do like battling. Um I was like thinking, oh maybe it would be Bennett, but like maybe Bennett won't be here because he was just in the last event. So a familiar visitor. That's a good question.
Goro?
Goro, I feel like so I was just thinking that. I was just thinking like who are characters that wouldn't leave their post? Like Toma wouldn't leave his post. Um, Goro wouldn't. I think Ayato would, but like,
Oh no, I
yeah.
know who it is.
Who do you think?
Oh, I know who it is. It's Ito.
Oh my
It's
god, it
gotta be
has to be
Ito.
Ito. You're right. You're right. It has to
Yes,
be Ito.
because he fights with his the Beatles, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that I was thinking like who has
So
like a
he's trying to
similar
find new
thing.
kinds of
Dude,
Pokemon.
that has to be it. That has to be. Okay. All
He
right. Call
pops
it
out
in.
out
You
of
heard it here
nowhere.
first. It's Ito. It has to be
It's
Ito.
gotta be
Come on.
Ito. He's also a fun guy.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. Oh my god, you're right, dude. It has to be Ito. Come on. If it's not Ito now, I'm just gonna be kind of disappointed. Like, to be honest.
So I love theory crafting because there's going to be that one occasion when you're right, and it's the best feeling in the world. Um, okay, so basically about this fungus event, they give you this item called the Wisdom Orb. Now, it reads, a crucial item provided by the organizer of the Neelitpala Cup Beast Tamer Tournament. Use it to capture, accommodate, and command intelligent fungi. Word has it that it was invented by a this is a typo. There's typos so often throughout this whole expansion. Um, a researcher named Caltilia. Only those who can wield this item skillfully are qualified to participate in the Neelitpala Cup Beast Tamer tournament. That said, this is still in the quote, you cannot help but feel that some of this item's functions create a strong sense of deja vu.
Huh.
I don't know if that's meant to be kind of a fourth wall break, like because it makes it feel like you're trying to capture Pokemon, or have we done something like this in a past event? Because I don't remember
I mean, the
having to
closest thing
tame
is like the beast
wildlife.
capture net, right?
We just had that, right?
I mean, we just have like a thing that like a capture net thing that like we got from like maybe I don't know, almost a year ago now, maybe like maybe like 8 months ago, maybe longer. I
Oh,
don't
is
know.
that in Inazuma?
Yeah, Inazuma one.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
Oh,
but
okay.
but like it
Okay, could be
wasn't.
that.
I don't think it was like a ball or something like this. But it says this item's functions create a
Mm-hmm.
strong sense of deja vu. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
but it might be referencing Pokemon. Like you might be right because, you know, it's so random. Like, and it doesn't look like a net. So I feel like. I feel like it might be Pokemon because that you capture, accommodate, and command intelligent Pokemon. So yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but it's pretty basic. You basically go to certain areas to find and use the thing to capture them. Um, it looks like it can fail sometimes, so it does have that RNG element like Pokemon has. So you might miss, and you have to keep chasing them. It does look like there is a limit to how many you can capture. And here's the weird part about this whole process. I like that they let you pick a name, but they don't really let you pick a name. So that when you pick a certain one, you can choose a name of three options. And then if you've already captured one like this before, if you just get a lower quality one, so to speak, you only have one choice of name in all three options, and it just doesn't feel right. it, you should be able to just type in something because you can name yourself and your name pops up in like the dialogue.
Yeah, I think
But
they just want to prevent
I
any
don't.
like
Eh,
misuse of freedom of typing stuff.
sure, that makes sense. I'll accept that. But anyways, you can do a lot with these little fun guy. You can level them up. You can upgrade them. Now, here's a fun thing. The way you upgrade them is by mixing jellies.
This looks fun.
So you mix. Yeah, I like this. They give you a pattern to follow, and then you kind of like turn the jellies on the table to match the pattern, and they upgrade the skill. Super fun, super cool. Um, really gets my sweet tooth aching. I definitely want to have some candy when I eat this now. There's two types of challenges. There's an attack challenge list and a defend challenge list. I definitely like the attack one better because protecting a ley line, especially when you don't have your own characters to use, it's just it's it adds too much stress because every time they attack it, your percentage goes down, and if they get 1% past a certain breaking point or threshold, then you can't 3-star the event or get max score or whatever. I just like the ones that you can attack freely.
I see.
But after that, we have just a couple little UI elements about it. You can have 4 fungi per challenge, but I think you can only have like up to 10 captured fungi. So obviously, there's going to be some that are of the same element, but just different types. You should be able to capture some of the elite fungi creatures, but obviously you can't tame the big terror shroom, so
Why not?
they're just gonna let you have up to 10 different. Why not? Of
I mean,
course.
maybe we can, right? Well, who
Yeah,
knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you can capture Lugia, sure, you can
Yeah.
capture any Pokemon.
I mean, maybe they just like don't show you on purpose all the types because they want you to experience it, and it could be really fun because they've already established that like the everything from the boars to the terror shrooms are like just straight up fungi. So you know, it could be really interesting.
Oh, that's actually a good point. You might be able to tame the boars.
Yeah, we'll see.
So throughout the event, you basically control fungi. You doesn't look like you can attack, but you control them. Your ability buttons turn into which fungi you are controlling. Elemental reactions are still a thing, so you can have them attack one specific one to cause the reaction. There's geo shields, so you have to use one that does like a lot of physical damage to break the shields. I kind of like this event, especially if you can control them faster, like more precisely. That'd be great. And this, I hope there's like a character that comes out in the future that builds off of this same kind of system, like just a bunch, like a summoner. Like you
Yeah.
don't attack, you just see like a bunch of like your own minions attacking. That'd be great. Probably. Oh, what was that one? There was a harbinger that made the puppets.
Oh, I don't know the name.
Uh,
I forgot.
oh, started with a C. Yeah, the one that was being carried by that big puppeteer thing.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah, I'll look it up. So the other event is going to be the Adventurers Trials. The materials that drop from this one, previously the jelly event or the fungi event seems to drop more Sumeru themed materials and Ascension materials. This next one is more for Mondstadt, so obviously you're gonna get more character Ascension materials for Mondstadt based characters. Oh, and weapon materials too. This one it looks really fun
Looks so
because you
fun.
have. I know it's co-op. This is one. The other is you can use those characters' abilities, which are all given to you as trial characters. You don't have to worry about having them or not. So you can use those characters, and you're basically playing. You're basically playing Mario, like Wii Sports. You're like causing elemental damage to like these slimes to get them into a goalpost. You have Yalan's skill that you just can spam and use and run around to capture all the coins. You have Zhao, where you just can always jump high and just kind of like ground slam and all these little blocks into the ground. Just a bunch of mini games and events, which let you use the character's abilities in a higher frequency than normal. I like that because you get to feel like what would it be if I could just spam this ability. You get to use it for more than just fighting. I'm sure at some point there's going to be at some point where like we're just tired of just fighting random mobs all the time. This is still a great event to kind of just kick back and relax in. So I'm a fan of this kind of event because it is still going on while other events are going on. So even if you don't like this kind of event, you still have the other stuff to do. Um, After this, we also have the Hypostatic Symphony, which is now complete with the addition of the Dendro Hypostasis. And the last one was kind of a long time ago. Do you remember the last time there was a Hypostatic Symphony event?
Yeah, so the last time was like a co-op event, but this one doesn't look like it's co-op. It'd be nice if it was, but yeah, it was like a year ago now, I think.
Oh, you might be right, because yeah, I really don't remember the last time. I remember this event, but I don't remember when it last happened. But it's cool. You can just fight a bunch of them in sequence. I think you can use an ability, but it diminishes over time, or you can only use it a certain amount of times, and then you can still use your own food and potions, which I like. So if people like an opportunity to use their food buffs and craftables, then sure, you get to use that in this one. The next event is based around the camera. This is a minor event. However, I hope they keep this function permanent because during this camera event where you go to a place, take a picture with a certain pose, they actually let you choose a preset pose and like zoom level and distance and save that position camera position data, and then when you get out of the camera gadget and like you're walking around the real world, when you snap the picture, it remembers the angle and the zoom so you can use your abilities and take a picture. And this is a little bit different than just having the camera gadget because it didn't let you shift the camera off to the side so you're on the right side of the picture.
That
The
you're right.
regular
I
camera,
didn't even realize how useful this camera is.
yes, this is
This is
great, and
game
it's a small
changing.
change.
Yeah, you don't need other
Yes,
people.
especially for people who like
Yeah,
pictures.
you don't need other
I
people
know.
to take pictures now. Oh my god, it's amazing.
Oh, poses are gonna be awesome. Like even co-op photos. Oh, I gotta send you this video later. Like a few videos that are coming up on my YouTube feed. They're like from a Chinese player. All they do is just like poses, like co-op poses. So they do a bunch of attacks, and they have like the camera stationary, and they just slow down time the
Yeah.
moment like their characters are in that pose. It's so satisfying. I love it. But yeah, that's what the camera event's gonna do. Um, Almost finished with this one. Basically, another minor change to the Serenity Pot. I appreciate this. I love this. I would probably use it a few times. I know there's still a lot of people out there that don't like their Serenity Pot. I understand. However, if you took the time to go to like the subreddit for like the Serenity Pot makers and like all their collaborations going where they can build stuff and construct stuff together, it is absolutely mind blowing what kind of stuff people make with this. And now they're giving you a system to copy your teapot ID and your layout and share it and say, hey, here's my code. You can put my buildings in your place now. That's amazing. This is an update, not an event. This is a actual update. It's gonna be permanent going forward. You make something, you want to share it with people. You don't even have to make a video and showcase it. And you don't have to worry about taking dozens of pictures just to showcase what you have. Post your code, let people explore it. This is fantastic because I have a feeling even some like content creators could use this for like their own community events. It's just so much easier to see like what people are making in their world. My only worry is that there are people who use glitches. The people that use glitches to get things like through like the floor or like through other objects or like floating, because that's
Oh, is
technically
that a
not
thing?
supported. Yeah, because you can make items float and you can make items sink. There's Serenity pots that have pools, but obviously there's no water where you can have like buildings, right?
Right.
So they actually push objects underground, and under the
Ah.
ground is where the water is,
Well, I hope
and you
they
have to
let you
get there by
keep it.
teleporter. I hope, but there's always that potential where like you copy an ID, I don't know what that ID is going to copy specifically, just like X and Y coordinates or like X, Y, and Z coordinates and everything. But if the game does not know how to recreate it on its own and then send it to someone, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
This could
they have to
potentially be
be
very
aware of this.
bad.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
think they'll be aware of this. I mean, I
Mm.
have a feeling that this is part of the reason why the teapot was broken for so long because they were probably trying to get this system to work, right?
Well, that
Remember?
was when they had COVID though.
Yeah,
They had the
exactly. But they were
lockdowns.
probably working on this, and it's just why like something happened and they couldn't they couldn't do it because it was working fine, but then they like changed it, right? Um, the other thing is, like I think with this system, like you have to have all of the pieces of furniture available that the person that you are copying has in their world. So
Oh, that's a good
yeah,
point.
so you
Right.
have to go and
I never
create
thought about that.
everything. Like even if you want to copy someone's world, you have to go make sure that you create everything. So there's probably like if you want to copy something, it's gonna give you like a checklist. Like you need to create this, you need to create this, you need to create this because you don't have these furnitures.
Hmm.
So, and I'm wondering if this teapot copying also applies, like if there's a way to do this for the inside of your house as well, instead of the outside only. So I'm curious about that. So we'll probably
Yeah,
see.
we gotta see it. I gotta show you my ID so you can see what I've been building.
Oh yeah, cool. Did you use the Sumeru stuff?
No, because I'm still looking. There's one thing I am looking for. There's one green chest I'm looking for. There is actually a stairs now, a stairs object, instead of
Oh
having to build your own stairs. Have you ever tried to build stairs in your pot?
no, but I think I have the stairs.
It's Wait, you do?
I think so. I remember seeing stairs and thinking, oh, that's cool. But then I don't use teapot that much, so I'll check later.
Okay. All right, because I know there's like an actual like block with like steps. Before you had to like combine a bunch of like flat stone platforms and just keep raising it and raising it, or they have like the elevator, which is still cool, but just Just making simple stairs is all I wanted, and there is a stairs object, and I still haven't found it.
Dang.
Ugh. But that's basically the whole live stream. A lot of highlights that I found interesting. What about you, Josh? What was like a couple of the biggest takeaways for you from the live stream?
I mean, honestly, the story is just the thing I'm so excited for at this point. Like, I'm really trying to get invested in the Genshin story to know as much as I can. And I really, really was not expecting originally when we were going to Sumeru, was not expecting this turn of events to happen this way with Scaramouche becoming a god. So I'm really excited to see how the Traveler resolves that in game, like in the story, like obviously we're gonna beat him up at some point, but like what happens after that is like what I'm curious about,
A nice
and
heartwarming speech about love and
right, and I'm curious
camaraderie.
like how like what will lead Scaramouche to a point where we can recruit him as a playable character because you know like rumors is that he's playable at some point, so I'm curious how we're gonna get to that point where that's okay because like Child just showed up, and he seems like like we had like he was kind of a bad guy, and he is a bad guy. He's a boss, like he's a Fatui member, but like they got him to the point where it seems that it makes sense that he would travel with the Traveler sometimes. Like I don't know how Dottore and all these other people are going to be playable unless they like make them like the bad guys. I don't know how the bad guys are going to be playable unless they make them sort of more human and vulnerable and like I don't know nice people. Like I don't understand how we can have like straight up bad guys just on our team. So yeah, I'm really curious about if that's going to be a thing, like if he's going to be playable, like how it's going to transition to a point where we think that that's okay as far as like his place in the story. So I'm curious about that.
Actually, I just realized something. Yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, Tartaglia is not so much a bad guy; it's just like kind of like anti-hero or like kind of his own person. But
Right.
I think Raiden Shogun was the only character that started off as an enemy to us and became friendly.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was kind of already friendly.
But remember, like the other reason for that is like that A exists, and our enemy was the Raiden
Right,
Shogun
right.
because we were against the Raiden Shogun. But like they made it like a thing. They made it like okay for her to join you despite being like the big bad guy at the time, right?
It's just a good parallel that Scaramouche is gonna basically go through that same route. Like, start off as enemies, now you're friendly, now you can be recruited.
Right?
Just hope he doesn't have his own set of multiple personalities.
I mean, he
That'd be
might.
another fun coincidence.
I mean, he came from A, right? So
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the live stream. Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to Nahida. Gonna be using. Oh wait, I still have to farm a little bit. No, no, no. I got all the flowers that I need. I got
I mean,
the
even if you don't have the
weapon. I got the
flowers, she
artifacts.
makes
Yeah,
it
I
easy
would.
to get the flowers. Like it's pretty
True.
nice. But yeah, I need to.
Did you
I'm
get any of
farming
those
there too.
yet?
What?
The Kalat Pala
Oh yeah,
lotuses
yeah,
that are like hanging on the
yeah,
cliffs.
yeah.
Oh
I've
my
been
god, they're so
saving
tedious
those.
to
I
grab.
used some on Dory, but I knew that they were gonna be used for Nahida, so I just like stopped
Wait,
using them on
Dory
Dory.
needs the same ones?
Yeah,
Oh shoot, I didn't even bother to level her up.
yeah. Well, good. So you can use Nahida to get more of them. It'll be way easier. Um, so I think Nahida will also help with the violet grass too. If you're trying to level up anyone from Leeway that uses the violet grass. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, hanging on the cliffs too.
yeah.
And they're not
Um,
on the edge of the cliffs. They're like on the
and
sides, like middle
it
of the
does. I don't think you can, but
mountains.
like it would be cool if you can use her skill in the air, like while you're falling, and then just like zap 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 and like pick up those things while you're falling in the air.
I think the only
She
one that can use their
floats,
skill.
but yeah.
Well, I think the only one that can use their skill in the air is Zhao.
Uh huh.
Is that right? Yeah, yeah. Because Zhao, he can like dash forward in midair and he can fall while attacking and not take fall damage. So
Right.
he's kind of like a air specialist in a way.
Yeah, I really would love to see more characters be able to use their skill in the air. I think they're kind of saving that. Um, like because I'm sure they don't want to focus too much on air combat, but I mean it could be ground combat, but from the air, like throwing a bomb downwards or something like that. I think it'd be really cool. It would actually like add a
Yeah,
whole
and
new layer onto like so many characters.
I just want, this is my one change I want for combat. Just let me jump and do a falling attack. I
Oh
want to
yeah,
use my claymore people more often. That one change would make claymore fighting so much better.
that's why it's always
Just
nice to
jump
use
and
it
slam the
when they
ground.
have those like events
Oh my
that give you
god.
like the extra jumping height.
Oh, that's great. I
Yeah,
love seeing
like
those videos.
using like a Shao esque claymore like user, like being Diluc and just like slamming fire on the ground every 5 seconds or every 1 second. It'd be really cool. Um,
Before we move on,
mm,
one last change. I forgot to mention this, that they are, forgive me for all of our international friends. Yes, it is very important that they are adding the Italian and Turkish languages to the game. That is actually big because I feel like it is going to help accommodate for whenever they have, more zones and cultures based off of those cultures. So I'm glad they're laying that groundwork now, adding those languages that they're getting inspiration from, most likely, and then putting them into the official game.
yeah.
Because
And
French was
and
already
just
here,
to
but not
clarify, like it's
Italian.
just text, right? Like not voice language.
Correct, but they're still laying the groundwork for having that, you know, in there.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so thanks Kahi for that live stream summary and slideshow. What are you all excited for that's coming out in this 3.2 update? Let us know in the comments or tweet at us at Genshin Guys Pod. And let's move on to our last section of the day, the community discussion question. So, last week we asked you what are some interesting ideas to augment the existing elemental reactions. So, similar to Nilu's passive ability, when she does Hyper Bloom, it actually changes the Hyper Bloom into the what is it called, like luscious Hyper Bloom or wondrous Hyper Bloom or something like that, and it becomes like a more powerful, different version with like slightly different properties. So if you were going to augment an existing elemental reaction in most ways to make it stronger, what would you do? So we asked you that last week. So Kahi, what would you do?
All right, so um, this is, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but when I came up with the idea, everything clicked and made sense in the moment. And I really truly believe this. The thing that I'm gonna add can already fix a lot of old characters without a direct buff. Just like how they fix, Kaching being more viable now with the artifact, effect being updated. So if they did this, I truly believe a lot of old unused characters will now be very much more used and more viable now.
Okay,
Add something called magnetize.
sounds
So
good.
magnetize is when a geo construct or shield made from a geo shard will attract enemies towards it that are affected by electro. So basically, if you hit a bunch of enemies with an electric attack and have a geo construct nearby, they will start to just congregate to it. So, this is why it's going to fix a lot of older characters. For one, it does make it a lot more easier to use um, Jinyan. Because Jinyan, her skill is when it hits two people, it creates a shield that pulses with pyro. If you don't hit two or more characters, it just creates a shield, and you lose out on a lot of damage potential. Also, Lisa, because Lisa's, is electro, and she's not that commonly used. But if she can apply a massive AoE electro and have like her burst down and have a geo shield in the middle of it, she's basically going to force everyone towards her ult, to her burst, and she can just keep them there while still being at a distance, so you don't have to worry about survivability anymore. It even fixes Kujusara in a way, because her dash ability, when she like leaves her, when she leaves that little trap on the ground, she doesn't go back too far at all. I mean, you can still have a geo construct somewhere over there and just pop back, but the distance gained is still greater because they're now being pushed towards like geo construct while you do a small retreat. It fixes a lot of issues with just a small change. You know what this also does? It doesn't let animal have such a monopoly over like crowd control ability,
Yeah, I
because
like that.
there's Kazuha, there's Venti, and then all these other animal characters like suck people up into this one area. It lets Geo do the same thing. That's kind of the biggest thing about animal is like heavy crowd control and swirling ability. But when you give Geo that same ability, even Geo characters themselves are now more viable. Noelle could be super meta now. Zhongli is going to be much more stronger because haven't they been asking for Zhongli buffs for a while? Because he felt weak for some reason?
I
Or
mean,
is that not a thing anymore?
no, that was a long time ago. He's really
Okay.
strong. He's just one
Okay.
of the strongest characters. So,
Okay,
but
well,
I love
maybe
this
that's too long
idea
ago,
though,
but
like this, like magnetized. Like I like that not letting Animo monopolize crowd control thing. It's pretty cool. Like it's like as long as I think it would. So like you're talking about like a lot of different applications, and I feel like I mean, they could do this, but like, you know, if they were to continue to follow the same route that they've done with Nilu, where they limit like to be able to utilize something that's like this, that's so strong that augments elemental reactions, you have to limit the party creation aspect, right? Like specialize the party. So like, if this was the case, I would assume that the party has to be made up of Geo and Electro characters only to be able to utilize this. Does that make sense?
well, it doesn't increase damage at all. It's simply like a slight crowd control ability.
Right, but it's OP.
So
It's
like
really good. Like,
it
yeah,
does, yeah, it does sound good, but it does because it doesn't directly give a damage bonus benefit. It's not going to be as powerful as those special hyper, not those special bloom ones, and you have to actually use those kind of characters. It still lets you use like your own team composition and lets you attack differently.
yeah,
But it does also, like I mentioned, it does also make older characters, unused characters, feel like they have a place now. They can utilize that effect to like capitalize on their own abilities to make them feel stronger. So it I mean, a lot of people didn't feel like Geo was as strong anymore because no one really likes playing around the shield mechanics. But letting the shield do more things could then make it a little bit more appealing. Just because Layla exists now, her shield is both a defensive ability and an offensive ability. That's very attractive.
yeah.
A
I
lot
mean,
of people would kind of
Toma's
like
like
that,
that
and
too.
yeah, Toma. But the thing is, Toma's like only gets like a really good damage support during his
His burst,
burst. I
yeah,
mean,
that's
he
true.
still makes a shield,
Yeah,
but
that's true. That's true.
it's a small effect that could have a big effect.
Yeah,
So
I think that
that's my idea.
I think that's a really really cool idea. I'd love to see them do something like that for sure. Um, so yeah, so for me, so magnetize, that's cool. For me, I guess I was thinking something like deep freeze, like using freeze, because um you would like kind of like we have that freeze mechanic in the game where like I mean sorry, we have that thing where when you're in Dragonspine or when you're fighting against Senora, like how you have the ice meter that goes down over time and you like slowly take freezing damage as you get that full. It would be like something like that, like but on the enemies. And this would again would be like an augmented like thing. Like you would need like all I'm thinking of it in the same way of Nilu. Like you would need all hydro and ice and cryo characters only in your party. Like there's no swirling,
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
there's no
Hmm.
like I don't think that you should be able to like mix a million different like if someone's gonna come into augment wait, let me start over. So when I was like looking into this Nilu thing and how her ability works, like it makes sense that the next step to go from here, now that they've added all the elements into the game, is to slowly start um, introducing characters that give you reasons to build different teams, right? Like that's what I think I like about Nilu. Now that I've played with her more, is like there's incentive to make a Hydro team to use Hyper Blooms. Like yes, you can use Nilu with like Electro, and you can make those things, or you can make freeze comps or whatever. And she's good for that, which is cool, which is what makes her a 5 star. But like kind of like the 4 stars, but like a 5 star version, she's specialized to incentivize you to create certain teams. And I think that that's going to give old characters more value too. So like if you were gonna take like your idea of like magnetize and say that the characters have to be geo electro, then and to get this really really good effect, then I think more people would be incentivized to build characters like Beidou, Lisa, Noel, like those characters who don't get used. Like even if we're talking about geo constructs and stuff, it could be like Ito or Goro even, and like Albedo, and just like forcing you to think about how would I build a team of just these elements. As we get more and more characters within the same 7 elements, until they start augmenting or adding elements, uh, more in the future, which is still possible, but probably going to be way long time off. Then we're going to get more and more options for teams like that are specialized. So I'm thinking we already have a lot of hydro and cryo. Deep freeze would be like if you um if you freeze an enemy, then like they're frozen and you keep hitting them with hydro, like you hit them like 3 times with hydro, it like fills up a little meter, and then they will take like similar to burning damage. They'll take like ice damage, like just little like tick 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 ice damage, and it'll be like
Mm-hmm.
deep freeze damage. Um, and I think that that would be really interesting when running like a freeze comp, because like if they're frozen and you keep hitting them with ice, you with cryo you already have like an increased crit rate and stuff like that. But like if you
Frostbite damage.
yeah, if you have those characters that have that ability, or you have like um something like that, then you can already take advantage of that. But this deep freeze over time would be like encourage you to like keep hitting them with water while they're frozen, and use the cryo as the secondary, like throwing out Ganyu's thing and then using Ayato would be like really really good for this, right? So that's kind of just a random idea that I had while thinking about this. So yeah,
Like freeze comps. I wish they were like a little bit more damage focused, but honestly, like the freezing enemies is still a very
yeah.
useful and very powerful effect.
What I
So,
like is that
but
this
like
would
yeah, if
work.
you have focused
Um,
teams,
I'm curious, like if there's a way to make this work for enemies that can't be frozen, like like maybe just like attacking.
more damage output.
Yeah, because like if there are enemies that can't be frozen, so like how do you make more damage output for like a freeze comp? Because the whole uh what is it called? The benefit of using a freeze comp is that the enemies get frozen, and you can just slam on them while they're frozen. But like if you fight an enemy that doesn't freeze, how do you make that a comp worth using at all? So yeah,
I
maybe.
think they would just do it as they would lower the enemy's damage output, as if like the enemy was attacking slower instead of actually forcing the enemies to attack slower. They just drop their numbers.
Yeah, I mean that
Because
could be a
but
thing.
if you have like a huge boss, they can't just move slower because of whatever kind of mechanics they're already built into. But it would still have a very similar effect, and it matches the whole like philosophy of it.
Yeah. So well, we'll see like if they decide to augment cryo in the future and see how it goes. Cryo I think is still pretty strong. It's just not as used with
Mm-hmm.
Dendro, so it's not in the Dendro comp. So I mean, but you can freeze people. Like I've done like freeze people while using Dendro anyway, and it's like you can get hyper bloom cores, Dendro cores to come out um when you oh I just remembered bountiful cores. That's what they're called, like Nilu's thing. But you can use like freeze right now and then apply water on them and then use Dendro, and then it can like kind of make the cores anyway. So there are ways to get around it, which is pretty interesting. Also, freeze comp is, for now is a great way to get the mushrooms without actually like burning them or activating them. So I use that sometimes when I'm trying to like farm for those like mushroom materials. Um, but yeah,
Oh, I just remembered. There's a dragon spine spear that actually drops an icicle.
yeah,
So you can have like your Hydro and Dendro focused team and still be able to get a freeze.
yeah. Oh, wait, but it does that actually do freezing damage? I think it does physical damage, doesn't it? It does more damage
The
to a enemy affected by cryo, but I think it does physical damage.
wait,
Like
you know the spear I'm talking about though, right?
yeah, yeah. There's a spear. There's
Mm.
also like a catalyst or something. Like it's like I
Mm.
think the way it works, because I tried to use this with Eula, right? Because I have what the I use this greatsword on Eula. Um, when the enemy is affected by cryo, and that little icicle drops, and it does more damage to the enemy if they're affected by cryo. But uh, to what the actual damage of the crystal thing that drops itself, I think it's actually physical damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
Okay, I guess
yeah,
that makes sense.
we have a we have a lot of different things coming in the future. I'm sure we'll have to find new ways for some of these weapons to be used. It'll be really cool. So for now, let's like continue with the community discussion, like other people that have answered. So Will Griffiths said hitting a geo construct with electro caused a shockwave of electro damage to the ground to hit enemies, which is then followed up by a crystallize of geo for more damage. That sounds really interesting,
I love this idea.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were on the geo and
Yeah, like a
electro,
resonating
yeah,
effect. Yeah, resonance.
right? And Zed Keffel says crystallize, but the shards explode on impact. Now this I think is cool because this is basically like a um
Bloom.
a bloom. Yeah, it's a bloom for Geo. Like that is a really cool idea. It's like something that's already in the game to an extent, and so like it would be interesting. It's crystallized, but the shards explode on impact. But maybe you can still pick them up as a shield, like so it could be like both, or maybe it would just be one or the other. I don't know, but super interesting idea. I really like that. Um, Traveler, Pyro and Hydro, Electro and Hydro. Whoa, hold on. Okay, so this person, the Traveler, says Pyro and Hydro, Electro and Hydro, Electro and Pyro.
I think what they're trying to get at is, you know how in Dendro you can, it's different when you apply Hydro first, then Dendro, and then another element. Because if you apply Dendro first and then Hydro, it's a bloom. But if you do like Hydro first and then Dendro, it's a spread. So that I think that's what they're going for. Like if you have Pyro, then Hydro applied after that, and then Electro applied after that, that's how they would come up with an
Oh,
effect. I don't
maybe.
think they named the effect, but they're thinking of like the order in which they apply it.
Oh,
So
yeah. I
which I
mean,
do, which
that'd
I
be
still
interesting.
like.
Yeah.
That's still good. Yeah,
So yeah, I would
because
love to
it'll be
see
like
it.
an overload superconduct,
Yeah.
but then a delayed explosion of some sort. But yeah, they're just saying like the order in which the elements are applied.
Okay. So Pimzo Balto, hey Pimzo. Maybe that for a Geo character, use Crystallize to freeze enemies or something interesting with Geo. Well, we have interesting Geo concepts here with Kahi's Magnetize and Zaid Kafal's Crystallize, but shards explode like Hyper Bloom. So yeah, I think Geo definitely could use some love after like you said, Kahi, like it is being used less because of Dendro. And Animo's still just being used as much as ever because it's still broken. Like being able to shred people with the Veridis and Veneer.
And
Um,
swirl, yep, there you go.
yeah. Let's see. And Caleb Webb 10, adding a reaction for Cryo and Dendro. Frostbite. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think that they kind of. So, like we had Dendro in the game since the beginning. Like the Dendro slimes that were there. And there was like technically like the boxes, like the wooden boxes and stuff for Dendro. So, like if you hit them with fire, they'll burn. And that's the only Dendro reaction we had. But then they added Dendro to the game, and then they added reactions. I think it's still very possible for them to take their things that don't have reactions right now, and add them later. Like they could, if they wanted to, change the entire game and add a reaction for Animo Geo. They could add a Dendro Animo. They could add Dendro Cryo later. So, I think it would be really cool to see, what kind of things that they add in the future. And I'm sure there's many people out there theorizing what kind of reactions it could be. But there was a lot of options we have in the game now, and I think that as we go on and they want to change it up, that they'll be able to just add more to this to the game later. Frostbite. I wonder what Frostbite would be. Cryo and Dendro. What do you think, Kahi? If we mixed Cryo and
I
Dendro?
think it would most likely be similar in effect to freeze because the enemies could still move, but they would be pacified. Like they couldn't attack.
Hmm.
Because it's still unique to freeze, because freeze they just stop in place. But if it's Dendro and Cryo, then they just don't attack you.
Dendro and
I
Cryo.
mean, it still makes them unique in a way. Like they get still a unique reaction with frost-like effects. Because Cryo is always going to be that slowing element that freezes when you have water in it, and of course, they still want something to be unique with Dendro,
Oh,
so
you know what'd be
it's along the
interesting?
same lines.
Because you know how
Hmm.
frostbite is like when like you can't feel your hands and they hurt or something like that. Like your part of your body's so
Hmm.
frozen. What if like when the enemy attacks, they take like a huge chunk of damage, like on
Like
themselves?
if they
Yeah,
attack, then they get
like they
hit.
don't have to even hit you.
I
Like
like that.
when they
Hmm.
do like some big movement, like a jump or like a, and like a swing a
Hmm.
sword or something, they take like damage, like gung, like a big chunk. Because some enemies take a while to attack, right? So I think it'd be,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
it'd be unique for sure.
Like the Mida Trills. Like
Yeah,
it scales based off the enemy. So if you have a Mida Trill who's frostbitten, like if they like swing their axe, they get hit hard.
right. Boom.
That'd be great. Hmm.
So yeah, that's just like an interesting idea. Peachy on Genshin. Charge shock. You apply electro on cryo. It freezes everything, including you, for 10 seconds, and then explodes with a 25-meter radius, scaling every 5 meters by times 1, so you get hit with 5 times all of your team attack combined. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Here's how there's a clever little interaction with this. Okay, this makes you proccing shields that much more appealing because if you know this effect is coming, you can set this up, get a crystallized shard, let it explode, and you're fine. It's clever because it also makes Geo more viable because hey, you have a Geo character, you have charge shot coming. Make sure you do this first, and then you get like the full effect without getting hit. But it also there's you remember that set in Inazuma where um you actually get like a jellyfish based on the amount of HP you've healed.
Right?
It forces damage upon you, and then there's also those artifacts that came out in the chasm, where if your health goes down, you get an attack buff.
Right.
Because there's actually not too many things in the game that you do to damage yourself.
I mean, Hydro
So
Bloom damages yourself.
this a little bit,
Yeah.
but like this is still a bigger damage,
Yeah.
which is gonna be it plays around the survivability aspect. So having more healers on a team with this
Yeah.
kind of makes up for the damage lost.
Yeah,
So
it's
this
cool.
is actually a little more clever than you think.
Yeah, I mean, so like this would make someone like Chi Chi like way more viable again because like a lot of
Yes, of
people have a
course.
problem with Chi Chi being like she heals too much. Like she like once you're full, she does nothing. She doesn't really heal you anymore. And so if you had and you can't combine that with hyper balloons that much because like uh uh yeah because you just can't because Dendro and Cryo don't really react. And so if there was like a
Wait.
cryo thing, what was that?
Uh-huh. So this makes Cookie even more broken because
I
she's a
guess
healer
so. Yeah.
and is Electro.
I mean, you
Oh my
just put
god, this is great.
Kukia and Chichi together like you're doing now with Sayu, and then boom, there you go.
No,
There's your
this is
thing.
this is perfect. I love it.
I think Layla would be good for this too, because Ice Shield. Um, so Turi says I think Anemo and Dendro, Pollen Storm or something like that, because there's already Dandelion and Mondstadt, and you can only get seeds with Anemo. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like Anemo and Dendro, they could just add that later. Anemo Geo, Dendro Geo, like they can add these kind of unique, um, like really unique elemental reactions. So yeah, we'll see. Sam, I just want something new with freeze as an Ayaka main. Well, like we were talking about a couple different things here. We talked about this like charge shock. We talked about like I was talking about the deep freeze thing. So I think Ayaka and her ability to apply cryo whenever she wants. It was like a huge thing um, that people were saying was so strong, and I think that she has potential to become even stronger if some character comes along that augments cryo itself. So I'm sure something will come in the future, but very, very cool. So thank you everybody for your ideas. I would love to keep talking about this. If you have any theories or you find any awesome, interesting theories online or ideas, feel free to tweet them at us or share them with us. And new question for next week: if you were to inherit their power, what elemental archon would you be and why? So of course we only know 4 of the archons so far, but maybe if you were, one of the other elements, like what you would like, or are we talking specifically Kahi with the 4 that we know?
Anyone.
Anyone?
Because if you're going to inherit their power, knowing that it's just you're in charge of the elements, you can even give yourself powers if you want to. because maybe that could be the why, or that you just like the element for some reason, or it could be even a story related reason, because I want to be the Electro Archon because I want to take care of Inazuma myself while A does her own thing. Like, there could be a lot of reasons why you want to take over a certain element, but you're going to inherit their power. Which one and why?
Nice. Okay, yeah. So go ahead and let us know in the comments for the podcast. And that wraps up the show for today. As always, thanks for listening. If you have time, please leave us a comment and a review. We'd really appreciate it. I will also be announcing later on Twitter when I'm going to be doing our live stream. That is like me showing off a bunch of Genshin stuff from Japan and China. So from the events that have been going on here recently. So stick around and check our Twitter, which is at Genshin Guys Pod. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. We'll be uploading to YouTube slowly but surely as well, and we'll let you know more on that as we get there. But for now, as always,
Ad Astra Abyssos.
星と試練を目指せ